Far across the endless waves of the Pacific Ocean lies a land of mystery, Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, as its people once called it. Scattered across the windswept plains stand the colossal Moai statues, each towering up to 30 feet, their blank faces staring toward the horizon. For centuries, they have remained silent guardians of an ancient world, carved from volcanic rock with almost supernatural precision. How were these giant figures moved without wheels or animals? Why were they built at such enormous scale? And what secrets were the Rapa Nui people encoding into their stone giants? Some believe the Moai were sacred symbols of power and ancestors. Others suspect they carry messages about lost civilizations or forgotten technologies. Today, archaeologists continue their quest to decode the island's greatest mystery. Join us as we journey into the heart of Easter Island, searching for the hidden truth of the Moai. Deep within the Pacific Ocean, nearly 2,000 miles from the nearest inhabited land, lies Easter Island. Known to its people as Rapa Nui, this tiny volcanic island covers just 63 square miles. Its isolation made survival difficult, but also gave rise to one of the world's most extraordinary mysteries, the Moai statues. First sighted by Europeans on Easter Sunday in 1722, the island appeared barren and windswept, with towering stone figures scattered across the land. These statues, some weighing more than 80 tons, stood as silent witnesses to a vanished world. But who built them and why? The Polynesians who settled here around 1200 CE brought with them limited resources. Yet within a few centuries, they constructed nearly 900 Moai, transforming the island into a living gallery of stone giants. Archaeologists still debate whether these statues were meant to honor ancestors, project power, or serve religious purposes. What is certain is that the Moai are far more than simple carvings. They are guardians of history, watching over a civilization that thrived against impossible odds. The mystery begins with the land itself, a lonely island cut off from the world, where the human spirit created wonders beyond imagination. Long before Europeans ever set eyes on Easter Island, the first Polynesian voyagers braved the vast Pacific in wooden canoes, guided only by stars, winds, and ocean swells. Sometime between 800 and 1200 CE, these skilled navigators arrived on Rapa Nui, carrying plants, animals, and traditions. They found a volcanic island covered with palm forests, fertile soil, and abundant resources. This was the birthplace of a new society, one destined to leave behind a lasting enigma. Life on Rapa Nui was not easy. Freshwater sources were scarce, and the island's isolation meant no outside help. Yet the settlers adapted, cultivating sweet potatoes, raising chickens, and fishing the surrounding seas. Over generations, their population grew, and so did their ambitions. The Moai Project began, an unprecedented effort to carve the spirits of their ancestors into stone. The settlers believed that powerful chiefs, or ariki, held divine authority. By immortalizing them in statues, their mana, spiritual energy, would continue to protect the community. What began as religious devotion became a competitive race among clans to build ever larger and more impressive Moai. These early Polynesians, far from home, had transformed their remote island into a sacred landscape, where every stone carried spiritual meaning. But with every Moai raised, questions deepened. How could a people with limited tools carve and transport such giants? At the heart of Easter Island's mystery lies Rano Raraku, a volcanic crater that served as the quarry for most of the Moai. Here, hundreds of unfinished statues still lie buried in the earth, frozen in time as if the workers suddenly abandoned their tools. Carved from volcanic tuff, a relatively soft rock, the Moai were shaped with basalt chisels. Yet the scale of this work remains staggering. Some statues reached 30 feet in height, with the largest unfinished Moai measuring over 70 feet tall. Each figure was carved directly from the rock face, then separated and prepared for transport. The process required careful planning and immense manpower. But the precision of their features, the elongated noses, deep-set eyes, and solemn mouths, suggests not only skill, but deep cultural meaning. The Moai were not mere decorations. They embodied revered ancestors whose spirits would continue to guide the living. The quarry reveals stages of work, from rough shapes to nearly finished statues. This has given archaeologists clues about the carving techniques, but mysteries remain. Why did the builders suddenly stop? Did environmental collapse or conflict bring their work to an end? Standing among the silent giants of Rano Raraku, one cannot escape the sense of ambition and mystery left unfinished. The Moai tell a story of a people who sought eternity in stone, but also of a civilization whose dreams may have exceeded its resources. Once carved, the Moai faced their greatest challenge: transport. Some statues weighed up to 80 tons, yet they were moved miles across rugged terrain without wheels, beasts of burden, or modern machinery. For centuries, this feat baffled explorers and historians. How could an isolated island society achieve such engineering marvels? Early theories suggested wooden sledges, rollers, or ropes. However, the island's limited trees make this unlikely on a large scale. In recent decades, experiments have tested another possibility, that the statues were walked upright, rocked side to side using ropes and human coordination. Local legends even speak of the Moai walking by themselves, powered by ancestral mana. In 2012, researchers successfully demonstrated this method with a replica statue, showing that small teams could indeed walk a Moai using clever rope systems. This experiment supports oral traditions and explains how statues arrived standing at their platforms, or ahu. Still, the mystery is not fully solved. Transporting hundreds of giants would have strained resources and required immense cooperation, or rivalry, among clans. The journey of the Moai across Easter Island was more than a physical act. It was a ritual, a performance of power, and a testament to human ingenuity in the face of impossible odds. The Moai were not left standing randomly across the island. They were placed upon ceremonial platforms called ahu, built with masterful stonework that rivals other great monuments of the ancient world. Each ahu served as both a religious center and a political stage, where the Moai gazed inland to watch over their people. These platforms, some stretching over 100 feet, were constructed with carefully fitted stones. Beneath them, archaeologists discovered burial chambers, linking the Moai to ancestor worship. The placement of each statue was deliberate, facing villages, not the sea, symbolizing protection and connection to the community. The largest platform, Ahu Tongariki, once held 15 colossal statues, restored in the 1990s after a tsunami toppled them. This site, like many others, shows the scale of coordination required by the Rapa Nui society. Entire clans work together to raise these monuments, each Moai representing lineage, power, and spiritual strength. But the construction of Ahu also reveals competition. Rival clans built increasingly larger statues to outdo one another, escalating the demand for resources. As statues grew taller, the struggle to sustain the tradition intensified. The Moai were no longer just symbols of faith. They became instruments of political prestige. Through these platforms, the islanders turned their entire landscape into a sacred stage, where stone ancestors eternally reminded the living of their duties and heritage. Yet behind this glory, pressures were building that would eventually fracture their society. As the centuries passed, the ambition to build bigger Moai strained Easter Island's fragile ecosystem. Forests once covered the island, but trees were cut for fuel, canoes, and possibly to aid statue transport. By the 1600s, the landscape had changed dramatically. Palm forests vanished, soil eroded, and resources dwindled. With deforestation came decline. Without trees, fishing canoes could not be built, reducing food supplies. Crops suffered from poor soil, and competition between clans turned violent. Oral traditions speak of conflicts, statue-toppling wars, and even cannibalism during desperate times. The once thriving society entered an age of collapse. The unfinished Moai at Rano Raraku stand as evidence of this decline. Work halted abruptly, leaving giants half-carved in the earth. The statues that once symbolized unity and power became casualties of rivalry and scarcity. Some scholars argue that the collapse narrative is exaggerated, and that European contact, bringing disease, slavery, and foreign exploitation, was the true cause of devastation. Either way, by the 18th century, the society that built the Moai had fractured. The fall of Rapa Nui is a cautionary tale. The same ambition that created one of the world's greatest wonders may have contributed to its downfall. Yet, even in collapse, the Moai endure, silent witnesses to a vanished way of life. In 1722, Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen became the first European to set foot on Easter Island. What he found astonished him. Giant statues scattered across a barren land, and a small population living in isolation. To outsiders, the Moai appeared impossible, a mystery demanding explanation. Later visitors, including Captain James Cook in 1774, described the islanders as resource-poor, yet surrounded by monuments of immense scale. European accounts often painted the people as primitive, unable to have built such wonders. This misconception fueled theories of lost civilizations or even extraterrestrial help, dismissing the true ingenuity of the Rapa Nui. European arrival brought tragedy. Diseases, slave raids, and forced labor decimated the population. By the 19th century, only a fraction of the original people remained. Missionaries introduced Christianity, altering traditions and erasing native practices. Many Moai were toppled, either during internal conflicts or colonial influence, leaving the island scarred. Yet the encounter also preserved the mystery. Drawings, journals, and later photographs captured the Moai before restoration, keeping alive the global fascination with Easter Island. For Europeans, Rapa Nui became a puzzle of lost grandeur. For the islanders, it marked a period of survival under immense hardship. The clash between cultures deepened the enigma of the statues. Who truly built them? And how could such an isolated people create monuments to rival the pyramids? The modern study of Easter Island began in the 20th century, when archaeologists sought to uncover the secrets of the Moai. Thor Heyerdahl, famous for his Kon-Tiki expedition, conducted one of the first major digs in the 1950s. He proposed that South Americans, not Polynesians, might have influenced the island's culture. While his theory was controversial, it sparked worldwide interest. Later research confirmed the Polynesian origins of the Rapa Nui people through language, genetics, and cultural practices. Excavations revealed the techniques of quarrying, carving, and transporting the statues. Archaeologists also uncovered buried bodies of Moai, proving they were full figures, not just heads. Experimental archaeology provided answers to the mystery of movement. By testing rope techniques, researchers demonstrated how Moai could be walked upright. This insight connected scientific discovery with oral traditions, bridging legend and evidence. Radiocarbon dating and soil analysis have shed light on environmental changes, supporting theories of deforestation and resource decline. At the same time, anthropologists emphasize resilience. The Rapa Nui adapted through innovation, even amid collapse. Today, Easter Island is a living laboratory for understanding human ambition, ingenuity, and survival. Modern archaeology continues to reveal that the Moai were not relics of lost technology, but triumphs of Polynesian skill and spirit. Yet each discovery deepens the allure. The Moai remain not only monuments of stone, but symbols of enduring mystery, captivating researchers and dreamers alike. Beyond the technical marvels, the Moai hold profound cultural meaning. For the Rapa Nui, these statues were not just stone figures, but living embodiments of ancestors. Each Moai represented a chief or important leader whose spirit, or mana, continued to protect the community. The statue's placement facing inland, rather than out to sea, reinforces this role as guardians of villages. Their massive size reflected the power and prestige of the clans who built them. Larger statues meant greater authority, intensifying rivalry among groups. The unfinished moai scattered across the island suggest that building was both sacred duty and political contest. The act of carving and raising statues was itself a demonstration of strength, uniting workers in devotion, but dividing clans in competition. Some researchers suggest deeper symbolism. The elongated heads and prominent noses may have conveyed spiritual ideals, while the moai's solemn expressions embody dignity and timeless presence. Others argue that the statues symbolized a connection between earth and sky, mortals and gods. Whatever their interpretation, the moai remain sacred to the Rapa Nui people today. They are reminders of a proud past, resilience in hardship, and a cultural identity that survived against all odds. The true meaning of the moai is not just in their stone, but in the spirit they continue to inspire across generations. Easter Island's moai remain one of the world's greatest enigmas. Nearly 900 statues of the island, their silent faces gazing over a landscape that once thrived with ambition and faith. Archaeologists have uncovered much: the Polynesian origins, the quarrying at Rano Raraku, the ingenious walking transport method, and the collapse of resources that reshaped society. Yet many questions endure. Why did the islanders invest so much in these statues? Was it purely devotion to ancestors or a deeper cosmic vision of order and protection? What caused the sudden halt at the quarries? War, starvation, or outside invasion? And why do the moai still hold such power over the imagination of the world today? For the Rapa Nui, the statues are more than ruins. They are living symbols of resilience, guardians of a culture nearly erased but never forgotten. Despite centuries of hardship, environmental collapse, colonial exploitation, and cultural loss, the moai still stand, reminding us of humanity's capacity for creativity, faith, and endurance. The mystery of Easter Island is not only about stone figures, but about the people who dreamed them into existence. Their story challenges us to reflect on ambition, balance with nature, and the legacies we leave behind. As the sun sets over Rapa Nui, the moai remain eternal, solemn, and unknowable, keepers of secrets that may never be fully revealed.